For one thing first, I don't care about your feelings. For one thing first, I don't care about your feelings.
If Cal State LA's YAF were to somehow get all the fascists together, such as Melina Abdullah, to come out here and be willing to open a forum with you and debate you, would you be willing to come back, even though Cal State LA has treated us all like crazies?
I'm happy to debate anywhere, any place, at any time. What I'm not going to do is be forced by this disgusting administration to open a stage that we had already reserved to a bunch of people that we don't agree with because they want to force it. I've never turned down a debate. I've never turned down a debate. They should turn down the debate with me because they'll get their asses kicked. They should turn down the debate with me because they'll get their asses kicked. I'm going to speak for a while, and then I'm happy to take any questions you may have, especially from you Bernie Sanders supporters. I heard there are quite a few of you. Don't worry. Eventually, you'll end up paying taxes and get a license. Dan Savage, he said, for example, that he wishes all the Republicans were effing dead. He has said about Green Party candidate, right? And it's not just about right-wingers. He said about Green Party candidate Carl Romanelli in Pennsylvania. He said that he wanted Romanelli to be dragged behind a truck until there was nothing left but the rope. He's called Justice Scalia a seasucker. He said F John McCain. He said that he wants to F the S out of Rick Santorum. He said that he's called on Herman Cain to suck his blank. I mean, he's really one of the worst people on earth, and he's also just happens to be the White House's chosen spokesperson for the anti-bullying campaign.
Let's do it. How many dudes you know roll like this? How many dudes you know flow like this? Not many, infinity.
So when a community of people that has been perpetually marginalized at institutions across America over history feels offended, we should acknowledge that. And I think that these pro-life minorities that feel unacknowledged and not respected. And so, Ben, I read your article today, and I was shocked by the language you used. You were saying that it's time for the right to fight. Now. Yeah, no wit tests a reflection of a community. You read his column.
Evidence. All this is screaming and feelings. How about like a shred of evidence?
So fly, I'm on point, and I can tell that you're jealous by the look in your eye. When I ride by, I don't care.
I wanted to share with you. According to Pew Research, the net worth of white families in 2013 was $141,000. For black families, it was $11,000. Even less than the $19,000 it was in 2007. According to economist Edward Wolf of the University of New York, excluding vehicles and other durables, the median black family worth is just $1,700, while 40% of black families have zero or negative wealth. White family worth, in terms of financial worth, is 69 times more than that of black families. Given this disparity, how can you argue that racism is not a driving factor in income inequality?
Because it has nothing to do with race and everything to do with culture. And when you have a culture that doesn't, you know what? Explain to me. You explain to me why black kids aren't graduating high school. Explain that one to me. Explain to me why black kids are shooting each other in rates significantly higher than whites are shooting each other. Explain to me why 13% of the population is responsible for 50% of the murder. Explain to me why the number of black kids in prison, not for innocent reasons, not for walking down the street and getting pulled into a prison, is so high. Explain, if it has nothing to do with culture, explain to me why the single motherhood rate in the black community jumped from 20% to 70% in the same course of time that the civil rights movement has made such tremendous strides. Is America more racist now than it was in 1960? And if it is, please explain to me how that happened.
Turn down for weed. Smoke weed.
I don't believe America is an anti-Semitic country. I don't believe that America is an anti-gay country.
Okay, so if it's not a big deal, for instance, Vice President Joe Biden, he just sent a tweet about it, and First Lady Michelle Obama, she said the following: "You're an inspiration to all of us. We couldn't be prouder of your courage, both on and off the field." This is not something that you would find every day coming from the First Lady or the Vice President of the United States.
Right, it's politically motivated. The reason that the First Lady and the Vice President of the United States do this is they are implying that there is some sort of vast conspiracy to keep people like Michael Sam out of public life, and that's simply not true. Look, if you want to portray Michael Sam as Jackie Robinson here, then you actually need a Ben Chapman. You need somebody on the other side who's speaking out against Michael Sam and saying it's so terrible that Michael Sam came out of the closet, it's so terrible to have gay people in the NFL. I'm still looking for that human being.
It's another murder, another murder. It's another 187.
Ben, when you come on television, when you write columns, do you feel that you are being persecuted, or do you feel that you are being, put in an uncomfortable position because everybody else seems to believe the opposite of what you believe?
Listen, I'm happy to be in liberal areas. I've spent my entire life in Los Angeles and Cambridge, Massachusetts. I like being in liberal areas. I like duking it out. But there's no question that the media is biased to the left. Being from the right on a left network like CNN, sure, of course I'm on the defensive, and I go in with game planning for it. I mean, it's not the same thing as going on Fox News, which obviously leans to the right. I mean, there are, and that's
tell
okay.
me about how you
that,
plan for it. I'm curious because we're on, the most meta show on CNN. How do you plan for it differently?
Well, what I do is I assume that I'm going to get a certain set of questions from folks like you, Brian, that I generally do get, and with all the veiled implications therein. Don't you feel persecuted when you go on a leftist network? The implication, of course, being that I see myself as a victim. Don't you feel like when you come on a leftist network and you're being attacked that maybe it's because, you're just a little bit intolerant? These are usually the way these conversations go. So, I'm glad, Brian, that you haven't done all of those things. You've done some of them.
Let's show a quick clip from a TV show. This is from CNN's Piers Morgan Tonight. Here we go.
The solution is for people to be able to defend themselves at the point of the crime and not wait for...
You're an unbelievably stupid man, aren't you? You have absolutely no coherent argument whatsoever. You don't give a damn, do you, about the gun murder rate in America? It's down to idiots like you.
Thank you for your high-level argument.
You are a dangerous man espousing dangerous nonsense.
That's not Piers Morgan debating Mr. Pratt there. That's him yelling at him to say,
well,
if
what
you
that
believe
really
this,
is
you're
more
stupid.
than anything else. Yeah, I mean, really, that really is more than anything else. Is Piers Morgan saying to Larry Pratt that you are a morally benighted human being. You're a bad person. You don't care about the gun murder rate, do you? I'm so frustrated with you.
Ben, join us.
We're working.
I work out. Girl, look at that body. Girl, look at that body. Girl, look at that body. I work out when I walk in the spot. Yeah, this is what I see.
His Yamaha fell off.
I got passion in my pants and I ain't afraid to show it. Show it, show it, show it. I'm sexy and I know.